What's up everyone, it's Kadi with MoneyVest. So in this video, we are going to be talking about NIO stock, ticker symbol NIO. They are going to be reporting their earnings for the second quarter fiscal year 2023 next week on August 29th. And that, I believe, is going to be before the market opens. So in this video, I'm going to break down everything with respect to deliveries, the revenues, the earnings, the cash flows, some of the concerns I have with the NIO over the long term, and of course, go over the technical analysis on this stock as well. As always, if you enjoy this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. There is a 16% annual discount available till the end of this month, so 4 more days left if you want to take advantage of that 16% annual discount. Of course, get access to all the alerts, all the members only benefits, and of course our educational material and intrinsic value spreadsheets as well. So link's going to be down below. So this right here is going to be the delivery numbers for NIO for the month of July, which came in just a little bit over 20,000 vehicles, right? Representing about 103% year-over-year growth, which is in fact going to be part of their actual earnings report, because that came in the second quarter. So NIO delivered 20,462 vehicles in July 2023, representing an increase of 103% on a year-over-year basis. And this actually came out on August 1st, obviously, so earlier this month. And the deliveries consisted of 14,000 premium smart electric SUVs, a little bit under 6,400 premium smart electric sedans, and cumulative vehicle deliveries for NIO from the beginning is now sitting at 364,000 as of July 31st, 2023. This right here is for the entire second quarter, so June and second quarter 2023. Actually, July, I misspoke. January, February, March, April, May, June. So I misspoke. July is not going to be a part of this earnings because they are going to be reporting for sales and deliveries up until June of 2023. I don't know what I was thinking. So July, August, September obviously is going to be third quarter. So the very strong numbers that we got from July are actually going to be representing the revenue in the third quarter fiscal year 23 earnings, which come out later this year. But this right, the report that we're getting next week is only going to include the 3 months ending in June, where the deliveries obviously were not that great, right? We were very, very subpar at 23,520 vehicles, which is why the revenue and EPS expectations are not going to be that high. So if you come over to the daily chart here, the EPS expectations are going to be negative 40 cents per share with the revenues of only $1.26 billion compared to, if you take a look at the last year's numbers, this is going to be June, $1.4 billion expectation, $1.53 billion revenue numbers, so which was reported by the company. So we are expecting a decline in both revenues, and EPS expected to decline further down to negative 40 cents per share for the company as well. And sequentially as well, they reported $1.5 billion in the previous quarter. In the first quarter 23, we're expected to decline quarter over quarter and on a year-over-year basis. An estimate, of course, was $1.7 billion. So very, very high expectations. Of course, the company coming in super short all those expectations. And even after that, the stock obviously ended up rallying a little bit, pulled back, and then rallied even further, close to almost 100% from those levels. And again, going into these numbers, again, the expectations are actually quite low for NIO. So moving forward, this right here is the overall revenue growth, and we understand that NIO definitely is spending a lot of money on new models and marketing and whatnot, and revenue has reflected that. Almost $720 million, growing that to over 7.2 billion dollars. It's over a 10x growth, over 1,000% increase in the last 4 to 5 years. Gross profit has also turned profitable at $752 million, but again, that's a very low margin of about 10%, a little bit under 11% actually. And operating income, of course, is expanding to operating losses every single year because the company is spending a lot of money on operating expenses, especially when it comes to R&D, research and development, $1.7 billion, right? So they're definitely spending a lot of money on SG&A, selling, general administrative expenses, marketing expense, R&D, research and development. All those expenses are kind of eating into the profitability for the company as well. So as I've already mentioned before, NIO definitely has a problem when it comes to attention span, right? It's kind of like one of those kids with very, very short attention spans. It does need new things to focus on. And as a result, they continue to kind of create these new models and these new products and new services instead of actually turning profitable and focusing on the core business, which is to say that, okay, sell what is actually selling, focus on their best-selling products, and really turn the company towards profitability. Like if I were obviously running a company, that would be my main focus. but unfortunately, as NIO's focus has been very shifted from one product to another vehicle, another vehicle. It's just like constantly making new vehicles and spending a lot of money on basically expanding the product line and model line, which again, it's possible once you've got profitability down, you've got very solid cash flow, solid profitability coming in, you can start reinvesting that back into the business to generate more models and create more demand. But right now, I just feel that it's a little too early for NIO to be doing all these. I mean, look at how successful Li Auto is with just one model, right? They're kind of like an example. They're leading by example on how you can actually be profitable by simply focusing on basically what you do best, right? Instead of kind of trying to push out 6 or 7 different models. But again, eventually we'll find out if NIO has what it takes to become profitable, and only time will tell, because they do still have a pretty good balance sheet. They do still have very consistently growing revenues. They still do have very strong demand. So again, only time will tell if they can actually achieve profitability over the long term. So again, net losses 2.1 billion, trailing 12 months $2.5 billion. That's really disappointing in my opinion. 7.8% gross margins, and everything else is straight up negative. And this right here is, like I said, the balance sheet's still pretty good. $4.7 billion of cash with a little over $4 billion of debt. So they do have a negative net debt with current and quick ratio close to 1, a little over 1. And of course, debt to free cash flow pretty negative as well, because the company's got, a significant amount of debt and negative free cash flows as well. Valuation wise, 2.15 times sales multiple here, a little over 9 times book value. Of course, we don't have any price to earnings, price to sales multiple for this company, and they are expected to turn profitable by 2026, right? So by 33 cents per share, that's going to be that number by 2026 for the next 3 to 4 years. We are expecting some more losses every single year, and 2026 is when the company's expected to finally achieve some GAAP profitability. And again, only time will tell if they can actually execute on this path to profitability. So here are some of the concerns I have going into the earnings. Of course, China's economy and the real estate market is going to be a big concern, because we've already talked about Evergrande, we've talked about Country Garden, we've talked about a lot of different developers that are defaulting and or straight up filing for bankruptcies. And of course, China's economy is struggling right now. Real estate market is definitely challenging as well in China. So that's going to be a big impact to a lot of electric vehicle companies. In fact, a lot of these stocks were down on the day when Evergrande announced for their Chapter 15 bankruptcy as well. Tesla's price cuts and competition, that's something that NIO also needs to address, right? With all these price cuts from Tesla models, that's putting additional pressure on NIO and a lot of other electric vehicles companies as well, especially in China. So we're going to be paying attention to how that impacts NIO. And of course, more importantly, path to profitability. This is the most important thing to me. If I'm an investor in a company, if I'm a trader in a company, if I'm looking at any company for that matter, I need a path to profitability. Because if there's one thing that I've learned over the years, and even kind of running my own businesses and also focusing on analyzing other businesses, no business is going to be sustainable if it's not profitable. Remember that. If you are starting your own company, if you're starting your own business, if you are thinking about having a side hustle or whatever it is that you want to do of your own, or you want to start something, the only way you're able to do it forever is if it is self-sustaining and it's viable, right? If a company is not profitable, it can last you 2 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years, but eventually it will go under. It's the fate of that company is sealed. It takes a long time to actually get there, So, and that's so important to me. Profitability really tells you that, okay, execution's on point. The idea has been validated by the market. It is something that can be worth growing. It can be something that can be worth investing in, right? There's no profitability. There's nothing. Long term, there's literally nothing. So that's going to be the main focus. And again, NIO is right now super small position, as part of the portfolio right now, less than 1%. So there's literally no conviction at the moment. And the reason for that, it's always been like that because of the profitability, right? The lack of profitability. So eventually, if and when they can turn profitable, I can see myself maybe expanding a little bit of that position into something bigger. But right now, from a technical perspective, we do have this right here as a very nice consistent support at around 1050. And you'll notice that we've kind of been bouncing off of that level very, very nicely. Oversold RSI, oversold MACD as well. So we have definitely been selling off quite aggressively from that highs of about $16, $17. So this right here is going to be that lower high for NIO. And of course, we're getting rejected at that level a couple times in the past. So that right there is going to be that support, like I said, 1050 all the way down to as low as 945, 950 levels for NIO, and a resistance all the way up to 1335 to as much as 1340 for NIO moving forward. So So going into these earnings, again, if you do get beats, if you do get a beat on revenue, beat on EPS, beat on guidance, it is possible that NIO does get a little bit of a pushback higher considering how oversold we currently are and we're trading out of support. But of course, if we miss EPS expectations, miss revenue, some of those concerns once again kind of resurface for the company. Like I mentioned, China's economy, the real estate market, and Tesla's price pressures, then it's possible that we do break down below sub $10 and then potentially get down to 945, 950 levels are going to be next levels to watch for NIO. So again, going into these binary events, I don't like to make those predictions, but the risk reward is okay. Again, my fair value based on a price to sales multiple will put us down, I think, somewhere around sub $10. But again, profitability is the big question mark. It's the biggest question mark for any company, but for NIO specifically, it's the big question mark is that if and when they actually will turn profitable. That's the real question. So hope you guys enjoy this video and a complete update on this stock. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you actually believe that NIO is going to be profitable? I want to hear from you guys. If so, when and by what margin you expect NIO to be profitable in the future? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.